The following is a transcript between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am, originally produced on February 6, 2021, under the constellation of Aquarius, in the mental week, examining through the root chakra. I am. Are you ready to rise from the ashes? Me, today? I am. Tomorrow, the path begins. Me. That was what you told me a long time ago. I am. Tell me. Me. On November 11th, 2011, I had another of those meetings in which I fainted in the middle of the meeting, with thousands of people onlooking in Capa del Monte, but not because of exhaustion, but because my being went to a meeting. As it happened last week, many beings began to talk to me about my task for the next year, 2012. They gave specifications about the places, the dates, and what I had to do and how I had to do it and why. And they told me, your journey will begin on February 7th. It was the Aquarius full moon of 2012, and I had to receive it in Montserrat, Catalonia. So I did it. In that meeting, they gave me what were the details of what the Harwoodham path was, which I did in the 40 countries on the 7 continents during the year 2012, opening the doors of the Kundalini, of the vital fire of the earth, to what allowed us to do what would come after, what we are doing now. But above all, they said something fundamental. It was my preparation. When I arrived at Montserrat, it was very cold. It had snowed, but the sky was clear, and the full moon would rise late at night behind the mountain. So we decided to go with some friends to meet where my guides had told me, in the middle of the mountain, near the hermitage of Saint Paul Vell. On the road to Can Macana, in front of the rock formation we call El Drac, the dragon, in Catalan. The ground was frozen and all white with snow, and we all got closer, and when the moon rose, huge and unbelievably wondrous on the dragon's thorned back, and the first teacher of my path appeared, who called himself the alchemist. He spoke only in English, although only 2 of us understood his language, but what he said marked me forever. You have come here to become a knight with the intention of saving the maiden, but to do so you must face the dragon and defeat him with honor with your sword. In his explanation, he mentioned the story of St. George, the knight of the Crusades who defeated the dragon to save a princess. But the message did not talk about fighting. The dragon was the chakras, the emotions, and the sword was the mirror in which I had to see them all, in my own reflection. The maiden was the earth trapped by base emotions, and to become a knight, I had to learn to direct my horse, the ego, through the crusade, the cross of time and space. Since then, something always happens so that this week of February ends in Montserrat, or connected to the mountain, reminding me of the dragon that I must learn to order. I am, and this is what you will do this February 11th, in the new moon of Aquarius. Me, that's right, a new path. I felt like I was betraying my path, and in truth, I was just following it. Years ago, I promised my friend, well, my sister practically, that the day she had a child, no matter what I was doing, I would be by her side for the birth. And that will be in a week. And for that, I took a deep breath and I bought the ticket. Yes, I'm leaving Egypt for 10 days during the emotional week of Aquarius. Matías from Slovenia, part of the group of 14 that started this at the time portal, will be in my place, replacing me in the pyramid, anchoring the energy of the axis for having the same name as me in the feminine. And I will go with my sister friend who lives at the foot of Montserrat. But I had not understood this until today. It is the new moon of Aquarius, a new beginning, resurfacing, and life takes me to Montserrat, to the dragon. I am the phoenix bird. For Egypt, the bird was Bennu, and it represented the resurgence, the rebirth of each cycle, announced by the sunrise or flooding of the Nile. At a certain time of the year, the fields had to be burned, as this left mineral-rich ashes that nourished the fields and fertilized for the next planting. And the Bennu bird fed on all of the insects and animals that came out of the ground away from the heat. For this reason, the bird seemed to fly in the fire, to rise from it after each harvest, to die and to be reborn. You are dying. Me, I feel so. I am. In the 16th century, the Dutchmen Peter Dirkzoon and Frederick de Hontman baptized the constellation of the southern hemisphere with the name of Phoenix, sent by European cartographers and astronomers to design the stellar maps of said hemisphere. Although for the people of the South, this constellation would be part of the lizard or salamander, an animal also connected to cycles, skin change, transformation, resurgence, the sun, and fire. Me, it feels as if my skin is about to change, and there is a part of me that clings to it, like my bosses cling to the belief that I should not leave Egypt. Parts of me cling to staying the same, to not transform, and clearly I must face my dragon. I am. We all have to. The phoenix is related to the fire of being arising from the root chakra, the force called Kundalini by the Hindus, the serpent of light that ignites by changing its skin to be reborn in the sun again. It is important then to let oneself die in order to rise again, not exert strength to sustain what is inevitable that it will die. Me, I just spoke to my mother and she reminded me that February 7th, 2017, a week after starting the Path of the Dragon, was the day that my grandma Renee passed away. Someone very important to me who marked everything that happened to me that year, where I really faced my dragon. I am. Your great task is to become an Aquarius, and therefore your intense life path begins here. Me, like the time on February 14th when I received information about my future son as part of my life mission. February used to be a month that meant nothing to me, and it ended up being my phoenix. I am. Aquarius is constant innovation, resurgence. Each cycle of history, each people, individual, civilization, religion, faith, hope, purpose, mission, art, knowledge, relationship must be renewed, resurfaced, reborn. Change your skin, your ego, your personality, and rediscover yourself as a superior level of consciousness beyond what was expected. Me. Do something unexpected, something that is not in the plans. Renew. I am. It's called reviving, to relive. Do you realize that you are dying? Me. In what way? I am. You have made your discipline a prison of pressure. Me. That was what they told me yesterday during the alignment. They told me that they look for my weak points to bring out the diamond that is in me because I have asked for it. I have wanted it. But the pressure that the universe puts on me is not the pressure that I put on myself. Sometimes, by taking responsibility for others, I forget responsibility with my own. How many times do we do this in life? I guess it's a very human thing. We live owing our lives to others, trying to be what others expect, relegating our truth for considering that doing so is selfish, that it makes us get out of the rectitude of service that has been instilled in us. I am, when in reality, service to the whole occurs when one is capable of serving one's self. Discipline does not lie in the gaze of others, but in the observation of one's own. When your discipline must be evaluated or expects to be examined by others, you do nothing but live in unconsciousness. Real discipline is the one that lives by one's own path, by one's own intention, order, and personal coherence that is projected on others as an example, not as a teaching. Me, what example is leaving something halfway to do something else? I am the example of free will. You are not tied to a place or a circumstance if that place or circumstance lives in you. When you teach the I am, all of the moments are the I, and all of the places are the I am. Well, you are free. It is your false belief to perceive as permanent a world that is actually in constant transformation. The spiritual doctrine of the one who follows the same path is only a being that seeks the all for only one of its thousands of paths. The mistake of such a walker is to believe that only by following his path will one be able to contemplate the landscapes that already surrounds him. When he reaches the top and marvels at what he sees illuminated in his eyes, he does nothing more than recognize that this beauty is what he has been traveling through, that the trees, rivers, roads, rocks, everything he saw for being indifferent, to which he had not paid attention. It was everything that together forms what amazes him now, and he can see that all paths are part. When your task is to remind them of the landscape, what difference does it make which path you take? Me, you are breaking the foundations that I formed in Capricorn. I am, isn't that the intention of this month? To remind you that the only reason everything is born is because something dies. Me, yes, letting go, releasing the pressure of looking only at the foundations, knowing that they are there. I can start to renovate the house. There is no need to continue building it exactly the same as the base. I am. A bit of an abstract art wouldn't hurt. Abstraction is one of the qualities of this month in which the parts that come together or pile up in certain limits are dispersed, taken outside their limits, move away, and disorder. Abs equals separate, and tractart, carry. The abstract is what is taken outside the limits. Me, think outside the box. I am, eureka. Me, the protecta. The key that activates interdimensionality is the discipline of the abstract. When one recognizes that the limits and the paths are only to guide us in the immensity, but when you recognize yourself as the same immensity, the limits disappear. You become abstract. I am, and you find freedom. You change your skin. You transcend yourself. The fire of your being ignites, consuming you in ashes, nourishing yourself with your experience, to rise again as a spark, as a fire, as light. Me, I'm being consumed to turn on again in its new cycle, right? I am. Yesterday we were talking about this. Millions of cells die every day in your body at the same time that millions of others are reborn. And those that die nourish the new ones with their experience resurfacing. They are not wasted, they are reused. Me, reincarnation. I am. And that information is energy. It is emotion. And if one of those cells, instead of wanting to let go and transform, clings to the emotion as its only reality, it will begin to consume the energy of the others in order to stay alive, becoming cancer, and thus a tumor. Me, as it happened with my grandmother, I am. And as it happens with all beings who get sick due to viruses, bacteria, cancer cells themselves, or the immune system, they will have two options: either transform their entire being or die. And death is nothing more than the greatest of transformations. The first is to be reborn in life. The next is to reincarnate, but the cycle is the same. Me. Yesterday, I liked having the clarity that the cycles are what counts and not the final result of what we do. That is to say that viruses and diseases are actually keys to evolution. Without distortion, there is no evolution, but without coherence, there is no harmony in said evolution. I am, and you will find only destruction. Everything has a purpose, since the diversity and beauty of existence has arisen only by the will to survive in hostile environments. Thus, all evolution makes sense due to conflict. There is no evolution without distortion, but there is only destruction without syntrophy. The order that provides coherence, that gives harmony to existence, that adorns it with beauty. Me. We could say that the war is nothing more than an evolutionary process in disharmony, and peace is a harmonic process of said evolution. I am. You never get involved in a war. You always evolve, just as the immune system is reinforced in each viral or bacteriological conflict. Conflicts generate better synapses to see optimal results, solutions not sought before. For this reason, when you honor the conflict as a spark of creation, transformation, and evolution, it is when you begin to find the harmony of using it as a tool. It is when you face the dragon. Me, and their chakras light up like a constellation. I am, light your fire. Let him be free so that you can build a bigger vision and get out of the box. Me, I am already feeling it in the form of a fever. Today, I think I'll have a fever. I'll let my body process this transformation. I am, rise from the ashes and spread your wings of light.